So, Mr. Beast's ex-employee displayed the absolute masterclass in being the world's biggest loser at VidCon. And I cannot wait to tell you, because we've got a combination. We've got there's two sides. We've got a loser there and we've got a winner. And we're going to talk about both of them in this video. And so I can describe to you once again what we mean when we're talking about winning and losing, and what I mean about winning characteristics and losing characteristics, and why. But before we do, this is just a little tea for you guys in this game of life. So you guys know that yesterday there was the whole spiritual experiences. I'm not going to get into it. Go watch the video. And I kind of came to have confirmation. I feel like it served as confirmation of what I was already thinking, right? So I was like, cool. So that was in a spiritual sense. Today I've just decided to go to somewhere I haven't been for a little while on a walk, because I had a few errands to run. I had a few things to get, and I almost didn't. Thank God I did, because as I'm now walking, as I'm now there and I'm walking around, and also thank goodness I had actually planned to go around the whole area, not just to a couple of the places I normally go, I ended up bumping in to someone. Now, I'll be honest, I wasn't happy to bump into them. I ended up bumping into somebody, and said somebody, right, says something to me, a piece of information about me, that could only have come from one place. And this is how I always suss people out when I know they're talking about me behind my back in ways that I don't want them to, or I wouldn't prefer, or that I know they're not prepared to say to my face. Because someone will talk casually, and the reason why they do it is because they think that other person's innocent, so they're just innocently thinking that, of course, probably I wouldn't mind, or that person must have talked to me about it if they're talking to them. But it's never the case. So they just, a lot of times, how these people get caught out, people that talk about me behind my back. That's why I said the devil will always send a Jezebel to be nearby to me, always. No matter where I've been, like literally my entire life. But, and is there something on my shoulder? So they just casually said something, which caught me off guard at first, because I was thinking, how did you know? Oh, funny that you bring that up. And funny that the person who I know obviously told you never said anything to me. Is what I'm saying about these types of women, yeah, who just do this talking behind the back, but then when they're around and I'm around them, they just act like these innocent little whatevers, and I look like the scary, aggressive one. Whatever. We're going to get off of that, but I just thought I'd let you guys know, because the way I was cackling, I had to actually take a second. Because I was cackling walking into the store, just standing there cackling when it hit me. They're like, oh. So now I've got evidence. I had evidence in the spirit yesterday of what I was thinking, and then today I got evidence in the natural. So I'm so grateful to God, and all because I said to him that I was mad at him and that things are getting boring and I'm getting sick of this. But anyway, back to the actual topic of the video. So recently there was VidCon, and I don't care for all this stuff, but there's a guy who I keep mentioning on this channel. He's a YouTuber and he streams and stuff. From what's his name? Is it me saying I really watch his stuff and then now I'm forgotten his name? What's his name? Adam McIntyre. There you go. And in a kind of way, I feel like I'm just concerned. I'm like a concerned older. I feel like a concerned older person. We're like in the same generation, but he's like 20, I'm 29, and he's been taken advantage of a lot, or he was, by the Colleen situation. And so I just keep an eye, like, I don't know, I just feel like I'm always keeping an eye on younger folks, whether they're people I know or whatever, to always be an advocate and to speak up on whenever things need to be spoken up about. Because one thing about me is I will stand up for others, and you guys know that. That's what I told you all the time on this channel. So anyways, he was really excited. We already talked about how VidCon had invited Colleen's sister, which, if you don't know that story, basically, long story short, Colleen was being very predatory with a lot of children. She never really paid for it in terms of any legal cases, but very much so in terms of her career. She'd really done it in everybody's faces, but as is the nature of humans, I'm sure everybody was loving the degenerate behavior, especially the adults, so nothing really happened. That's the very shortened version of the story. Now, the thing about that is that so anyways, he now ends up going to VidCon, and they're like, hey, we want to have you on a panel, right, where they're going to talk about having building a brand on social media, interacting with your audiences, and all of that type of stuff, which obviously evidently he's done. And he was expecting to be with somebody else, and then he ends up being with different people, One of which being this guy who he didn't know. And it was funny because I watched the footage myself because his friend was filming, so they filmed the whole thing. He gets into the panel. There's a guy there he does not recognize. Now, it was really funny because as soon as they mentioned where he was from, they were like, this is so-and-so who was an executive producer or whatever for Mr. Beast. And then, you know, Adam's facial expressions are really funny because they're not really fans of Mr. Beast for so many reasons that are not important for this video. So the lighting's really bad, but now the sun is behind me. We'll live. Which way am I gonna? Anyway, so yeah, so sorry, I'm getting so discombobulated. Hold on. So anyways, the whole time basically they're doing this panel and they're all getting asked questions like, so talk a bit about how you go about, like, you know, building your brand and whatever. And every time Adam is there, like, you know, I'm really close with my my audience. We've got like a really close-knit little audience, and, you know, they really drive a lot of what I do. They send me in stuff to, like, that they want me to look at, blah, 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 and whatever. And you can tell they really are. His audience is very, very wholesome. Because I read I'm never obviously on the live streams, but in the videos that I do watch, when I do watch them, I always see, like, in the chat, they're very, like, respectful, and they're not very degenerate. You can tell you're talking to, like, actual people. You know, and again, as I said this before, I think people attract the type of audience to the actual type of actual spiritual nature of the person who's leading them. That's why I feel like for Jessie Nelson, for example, oh my goodness, I've never in my life met a sweeter group of fans. They're literally exactly like Jessie. The, like, toughest people ever for, like, what they've endured, like, as a group and individually, even in their personal lives. But then the sweetest of souls, to the point you would never think they've been through the hell that they have. You know what I mean? And that is how I would sum up Jessie Nelson's fans. Sweetest people ever. So I will always be a support. I am a Jessie Nelson fan myself. I'm just not as diehard as everybody else. So I don't want to, as the rest of the angels. So I don't want to disrespect their dedication or anything. On the flip side, you look at someone like Taylor Swift, and her fans are all doing witchcraft and wanting people dead and hexing people if they're against Taylor Swift. Isn't that quite funny? Even though Taylor doesn't come across like that out on the outside, maybe that's because that's what her spirit is like on the inside, and the spirits are attracting the spirits. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? This is why even when I was just saying about the spiritual world, it's funny how these things all connect, and I don't even do it on purpose. But anyway, am I going the right way? I'm always asking myself this. Oh gosh, that is concerning. That is so concerning. Anyway, I've just seen, like, a baby's car seat, right? Sitting on somebody's bin. Evidently they're throwing it away. And it's broken, which, fair enough. But why is the whole thing covered in mud? In what world does that happen? Anyway, but it's my, what was I saying? Yeah, so these two are now going back and forth, basically. It's like it's almost like Adam versus this guy from Mr. Beast. Now, here's the thing, the first detail about this that makes it all ridiculous. The first detail that makes this whole entire thing ridiculous is the fact that he is an ex-employee, and it's alleged, so only alleged, that he was fired. It's alleged that he was fired. So the first thing is, because the thing with my problem with him, yeah, we can all get fired for different things, or maybe he wasn't, maybe he left. But I'm like, if you're going to come on here, right, with the biggest ego that's possible to have in VidCon, because I don't think he left any ego left for anyone to have, even if they wanted to, you better live up to the story. Because the first thing is, like, he was trying to look at himself as if, like, I'm like this well-established, whatever creator, and you're just this young kid who's earlier in his journey, because he kept being condescending. And this is what I'm used to, like, especially being in my generation. Like, it's different to him. I don't look at somebody like Adam I do think he's, obviously ignorant in some ways based on his age, which is fine. Like, I would never like talk to him condescending. I mean, I'm a 29-year-old woman watching his videos. Do you know what I mean? Like, who would I, and he has a good platform. It would be stupid for me. I would never come to Adam and be like, you know what, I love your stuff, but I think you're a little bit ignorant sometimes. Because I purely just think he's ignorant just for a lack of life experience. Just like I'm also going to be ignorant in comparison to somebody else, potentially, with a lack of their life experience. And I feel actually sorry for him for how mature he has had to be because of how adults have taken advantage of him, especially having such a close and personal relationship with a celebrity who's taken advantage of him. Like, I feel sorry for him in a lot of ways. A lot of times when he says things, I'm like, I know what it feels like to be like his age and just be like, be young and just having to be just so mature. And it's just like, it steals something away from you, Like, it steals something away from you. So sometimes when he's talking about really complex topics, it makes me sad to think that 20-year-old, like, you might be like, he's an adult now, but it's like, what is so wrong with us just like not having to hate and know everything? What is so wrong with wanting to maintain innocence? What is so wrong with wanting to keep the whimsy of life and imagination for as long as possible? Why is it that adults are so obsessed with, like, once you become an adult, now you need to mature. You need to mature, you need to do adult things, you need to swear, you need to drink alcohol, you need to drive, you need to have sex, you need to make stupid adult jokes, you need to do all this. Why can't we just, But anyway, so they're going back and forth and back and forth. And so Adam will say something. And then there was another lady there. I think she's like one of the managers or something on Patreon. And she was lovely. She was sitting in the middle. She was lovely. And she was like, everything we do is about supporting the creators on the platform. So we try to give them as many opportunities to like intermingle and always, keep up with them and see how we can help them out. So she was really nice, really wholesome. And then this dingus on the end will be like, I get what you guys are saying, and especially you, Adam, I see where you're coming from. And when you're not like on a Mr. Beast scale, the amount of times I've been around men like this is why I dream of having brass knuckles. But, when you're in a business of this scale, and when you're working with such a big scale, you're no longer just going to a niche community, but now you're talking to like the entire world and all these different people. There's just so many moving parts, and he's doing all that jargon, all the freaking egocentric, condescending, know-it-all, prideful jargon they like to use, right? And when you're doing things of this scale, and then, he was showing off. And the best part of it was watching Adam's face, because Adam, when it was going like a little bit red and he was trying so hard not to laugh, and it was so funny, because this is again how losers, especially like people like this Mr. Beast guy, don't realize how stupid they look. Like, because the reason why he kept saying, because he kept being like, and so for the tips of people who want to be creators in the future, because I guess some people in the crowd had, obviously there was parents there and people who wanted to help with social media and stuff, which again, a bit odd that there's parents getting advice on how they can build their child's social media. It's like, this is what I'm saying, we're living in the next season of Child Stars, and then watch, in 20 years, when I'm like 50, I'm going to be the one there reporting here on YouTube about all this stuff that I've been warning everybody about all the kids who are on influencers, because we're already seeing it now. Charlie D'Amelio's all disconnecting from her family because she doesn't want to be a people are like, how could you do that? How could you do that? Your family's everything. And their family, like, we never took anything. Meanwhile, she doesn't want to talk to any of them, including her sister. Where have you heard that before? It's like the next season of Britney Spears, quite literally, the next season. So when the next season of this, I can't be asked. But anyway. So the Mr. Beast guys were like, when we scale the business and like scaling and, like, shut up, bro. But anyways, nevertheless. So this guy, anyway, Adam, were going back and forth. A lot of these parents, were looking for advice. So he was trying to pander a lot to them. It's like, because I know a lot of you guys are thinking in the crowd about blah, 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 blah. And the crazy part is, and the reason why I'm talking about it, and the main point I'm trying to get here is, bro he's promoting himself as if he is Mr. Beast. Like, bro, you're the executive producer working on an idea that had already been proven, organized, and done by Mr. Beast himself. He hired you to do a specific job. You don't even work there anymore. And that's the gag of it. For like a tiny glimpse of his story, he tells us about his own brand that he had and what he started. And I think that's part of how he was able to get the job, because he proved that he knew how to do social media to Mr. Beast. But like, you don't work there anymore. He's just the only thing you have to talk about. If you're so good at this, why come you haven't got yourself to, I'm not saying Mr. Beast level, but a higher level by yourself alone? Why can't you come onto here, into this platform, onto this panel, and talk about you and your personal website and your personal channels? Why is everything you're talking about to do with Mr. Beast? Mr. Beast, mind you, who's younger than me, because Mr. Beast is 28. He's also a May baby, I believe. And you, who's probably 10 years older than me, are here being condescending to Adam, who, because he's representing himself at 20 years old and his own platform, his own community. And somehow you think, because he was trying to steer the ship, he was that one who would, like, after everybody else would speak, and they would all speak in their own unique ways, because like I said, they are in 3 unique situations. So everybody just answers, and then there's that. But every time after everybody speak, he'd be like, so if I can just like put everything together that everybody's been saying in summary to what everybody said, what Adam said, what Stephanie, I'm like, who's, because they have an interviewer. There was a lovely lady interviewing. Yeah, who put you in charge? You think just because you think you worked with Mr. Beast, you're not Mr. Beast, that you get to be the one here. This is something, this is loser behavior. And I always say, like, losers love to try and have this delusional pride that comes from the fact that they need external validation, because you know what's going to make him feel good when he goes home? What's going to make him sleep well at night that day is when he gets off that stage and then all the parents are coming up to asking for advice and him feeling like he did good for the day. On another man's name, by the way, that it doesn't even still work for. Right? And even just little things like, Adam backstage, Adam was like, he didn't even greet anyone. Like, he didn't even know that they were going to be on the panel because he didn't even talk to anyone, like say hello. So again, are you too cool for school? If I was about to be on a panel with a bunch of people, I would be like saying, hi, hello, like before we go on stage. Are you nervous? You know what I mean? Like, I would make, like, even if you don't care, at least just for the sake of like making sure things go smoothly, but I would do it just out of care, and also because we're going to be having a discussion on stage, and if things go well, I'll be like, hey, do you want to go get lunch together? Who are you coming with? You know what I mean? Stay in touch. So that was just so weird. And the funniest bit, this was the best bit was when they started talking about sponsorships. And because I think the question lady was asking about them, she's like, how do you guys like deal with, sponsors and sponsorships and stuff? And Adam was like, well, I don't ask my audience to get I don't take sponsorships because I just don't feel like it's right for my audience. I make enough money as I do right now. I don't want to be, like questioning my morals and values and changing my content in any way to like pander to brands and to be, whatever. And I make more than enough of what I do. And also it's out of respect, like to my audience, because I like to keep everything real. I want to keep it real to them. I want them to know that everything that, basically he's just saying like, he was basically outing the fact that, yeah, if you are taking brands to any degree, and I do think this, unless you're doing the brands that are just already like, the gambling related ones and stuff like that, you are to some extent going to have to pander to the brand to keep them, or ignore glaringly problematic things associated with that company. Like I said, like gambling and being like, is it good really to be encouraging people in this day and age to gamble? Probably not. Or like BetterHelp, which again, we know they sell people's data. There's been a lot of stories more coming out. People have had bad experiences with them. So now it's kind of like, we understand getting the bag, but then there's also just that thing, even I do this, where I'm like, I respect you a lot less now, I'm not going to lie. And I'm probably not going to, like, and this is why someone like me will spend my time with somebody like Adam, because I get your bag. It's like, I make plenty enough on Google ads. I'm able to do a lot of the stuff that I want to do. And I'm still able to, whatever. And then the Mr. Beast guy did not look happy, because all Mr. Beast does as well is the branding. Like, even on his shows I was watching, he did, what was the recent video I saw that he did? It was like, spend 30 days where? I don't know, but in these 30 days videos, keeps doing like, spend 30 days 100 feet in the air, spend 30 days 100 feet underground, all of these. He keeps having pop-ups where there'll be like a mini Starbucks will pop up, a mini flipping whatever, like Popeyes will pop up. And I'm like, bro, but of course it's branding, they're sponsoring. A lot of the stuff that Mr. Beast does, he does get other sponsors, and he spends a lot of time promoting and getting the art and people in this video is like, is Feastables the best chocolate that you've ever had in your life? Feastables is available in your local grocery stores. Go and get it today and support Mr. Beast, the best chocolate in the game. Oh, in another video. So our contestants right now are about to compete. And what we're going to do is we're going to go and give them a surprise to help them refuel. I'm sure they're getting tired. What up, contestants? Hello. I'm over here with a special surprise that you're going to like. He opens the box. The new Mr. Beast Feastable beef sticks. 100% the protein, 36 grams of protein to be exact. Delicious and perfect for a time like this when you're about to compete in the Beast Games. Like, that's always what it's like. And I'm like, you know what, get your bag. Like, if it's his own brands, but then it's the other brands, I'm just like, he's getting paid. He's getting a lot of sponsorships. And it is just like, that's why he kind of doesn't have a personality, because he can't affect the branding in any way. He has to be the most brand safe in order for him to make that much money. We talked about this before. In order for him to make that much money, he can't really speak up. He can't really have an opinion. He can't have a political side. He can't have anything, because that's going to affect the money, which again is where I'm like, that kind of calls out that about the Mr. Beast people. So then when the other guy, whatever his name was, I don't know and I don't care, he didn't really like that. And he always kept trying to spin it around to how different it is when you're working at such a big scale. And what I loved about Adam, and which is why I actually watch him anyway, and why I was even watching this video, because I watched his vlog. It was an hour. He was like vlogging at VidCon. And I was literally watching just to see him enjoy himself with the first VidCon he always wanted to go. So I was feeling really happy for him. And so then this just happened, and I was just like, this is so funny. And then... so when to see all of this, he's just there content with his audience, you know what I mean, and building his audience. He's touring. He's got a show in London coming up soon. He's got a show in Canada. He did a US tour. He went out and like lived in New York for like 3 months or whatever, you know, and he was doing all this US touring, and you know, and meeting with other creators are coming to see him as well and stuff. And he's just living a nice, humble, wholesome life. That to me is winning. Like, he found his corner. He's standing on his own name. He's running everything for himself, you know, all his channels, and doing all the stuff, and keeping up with his community. He speaks to his community every single day. So every day he streams pretty much, and every day he's talking to them and interacting with them and creating opportunities and doing fun things. You know, he was talking about how, you know, because he was calling out the JoJo Siwa cruise, which is something else I have to discuss again. But that's going to have to be a sit-down video. And how it was just $1,000 alone just to buy a ticket for the cheapest one with like the worst rooms. And then on top of that, you know, people were paying like $300 for a photo with her. Meanwhile, like, go over to what he's doing with his fans. He's like at Disney, and he sends out a message to his peeps like, hey, any of you guys at Disney right now, I'm there and whatever. And within like half an hour, he said like 10 of the muckers, that's what he calls his fans, were there, and he took them out, and he took them all out to the Rainforest Cafe, and they had a lovely time. You know what I mean? And it's like, this is what I mean. That's winning. You do something for yourself. You stand on your own name. You have your own lane. You find it. You make it work for you, and you just stay there. You mind your business, and you stay true to who you are and to what you are, and you go with it, whether the brand or not, or this or that, whether everybody likes it or not, or this or that. The right people who should be there will be attracted to your kind of energy, and the wrong people won't like it. And guess what? Who cares, right? Because even this other guy, the fact that I don't remember his name, even though he's said it so many times, says a lot. He's not even working for Mr. Beast anymore. So it's not even like he can be like, yeah, we got a really big project with Mr. Beast coming out. So he can't even do that because he's not even there. Then the rumor has it that he was fired, right? Because again, if he was that good, why would Mr. Beast get away with it? And like, I get rid of him because Mr. Beast is somebody who works people extremely hard. And he's had a lot of people who've worked with him like since the very beginning. And I recognize his crew, like the high-ups in his crew by this point, because you guys know I'm fascinated by his content just because I think he's my favorite type of psycho. And, you know, I'm like, why would he get rid of, like, it just seems strange. Because if you've not really built enough of a name for yourself, something must have happened. Either Mr. Beast wasn't happy or I don't know what. So it's just odd to me, especially at such a high position, one of those where you'd want to have somebody you can really trust. And you know, and whatever. So I'm like, brother, why are you not there no more? What's really going on here, brother? But then also, just as I've been saying, like, this simple fact of, you know, like, just his whole attitude and wanting to steer the ship. Like, it's giving very much older generation behavior of like, I have nothing anymore to be proud of within myself. So I'm just going to try and use my experiences and like just the fact that I'm older or whatever, or I've been involved in whatever. Like, it's just giving the same thing I was saying about like Kevin Hart trying to tell Kai what he needs to do because he's been doing comedy for all this time and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's always this thing of like, it's like, how about if you're so good, then get back up to the way you were in your heyday. You know what I mean? If you're so good with Mr. Beast and you're know so much, show us with your own community. Because no one's saying that about Adam, because Adam's not claiming to be anything. Adam's just like, I'm just here with my community and we're just having fun. And he even says it. He's like, I'm just like chronically online. I started my channels and whatever because nobody else was interested in the stuff I was interested in. And I was like, real, because this is me making my videos. So I finally have somewhere to actually talk about everything that's going on in my head and in my life and in my mind with people who actually care. So every time he says it, I'm like, oh, no wonder I resonate with this guy so much, just his energy in general, you know. So he gets to just talk about whatever. And at his tours, I think this would be amazing. That's why I would actually go to one of his tours. He does like a whole year of all the internet drama, basically, is what his tour. That's what's called Chronically Online. And he summarizes and makes an entire show about it, which I think is iconic. Because it's just funny, like, it's innocent, you know what I mean? It's innocent, it's funny to talk about the silly things that have happened, have a giggle at the world, hang out with other people. You're not really doing too much, like, you know, versus and Mr. Beast or whatever. And we were the first ever people to go to I remember like arriving in Egypt and getting to the pyramids and everything. Oh yeah, because Adam called him out on this. He was like, the thing about it doesn't get more realistic than a Mr. Beast video. It really doesn't. And everyone like, and the way everyone was laughing. Well, no, people weren't really laughing, but Adam was like laughing, and people in the audience and his camerawoman, all this. It's just like, yeah, Mr. Beast videos, everything's 100% authentic. Meanwhile, Mr. Beast has a guy who literally is paid a 9-to-5 job to be a stand-in for them to what you call it, so they can practice, what is it, thumbnails for the videos that are not even on the scene of the videos, in a studio somewhere, and they literally are there to pretend to be Mr. Beast so they can get the ideas to then. He was the one who was literally like launched and didn't understand how tone deaf it was to launch an entire brand that helps you make your thumbnails using AI and not realize why that was going to be such a problem. He's the same guy who does what most YouTubers, big YouTubers do these days now, which is why I'm so glad I got off thumbnails, by the way. Although my face gives me a jump scare, and sometimes I want to click not interested, and then I realize that's not going to help my algorithm. Like, people find me, is it, if I'm clicking not interested on my own video, but I hate seeing my own videos pop up on my feed. He's like doing all of this like for a thumbnail, and he didn't realize it was going to be tone deaf. But yeah, everything in a Mr. Beast video is real, though. Everything in a Mr. Beast video is real. Yeah. Like, shut up, brother. Like, you know, like, and this is, again, it's another evidence of, like, I say to you guys, pride and delusion, they work hand in hand. Because in order to have pride, you have to be delusional. And the thing about delusion is the longer you do it, the longer it stays there, and the longer you get to believe that lies are the truth. Because bro clearly thinks he has a leg to stand on. I'm not saying there's anything wrong, or it's not an achievement to have been high up in Mr. Beast's team and worked on some of the biggest videos and whatever. What I'm saying is, it's bold of you to sit there like you are the originator, creator of it all, and the one everybody should be listening to, when you're literally here under somebody else's name, who you don't work for anymore. And so it's kind of like, it's so awkward. It kind of gives like, this is what it's giving. It's giving like, if I had, I don't know, let's see. Okay, let's say I had a best friend. Let's say I had a best friend and we built a bakery business together, you know, selling cakes worldwide or whatever, right? And let's say we break up this friendship because we have loads of issues and whatever. And let's say, I don't know, I'm going to go extreme. She cheats. She sleeps with my husband. Let's go with that. Love that. Then we decide we're going to part ways, and then she's going to leave the business as well because blah, 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 blah. She's the one who ruined the opportunities, whatever. We settle in court. We keep it quiet, keep it cute. And then no one knows what happened. She goes, someone recognizes her like, hey, aren't you one of the founders of such and such and such company? And then she continues to go on telling everybody like about how she used to work in this company and she used to work in this company. Like, it's giving that kind of energy. It's giving the I need to do something for myself, but I haven't done anything good enough for myself still. So that's still the thing over there, right? And like, bearing in mind that in this scenario that I'm making up, like, let's say I was really my idea, but I just brought her along and hired her as like my first staff member as I started to expand, because she was my best friend, and I immediately made her, I don't know, a department manager or lead or something because I thought I could trust her, that kind of thing. That's what this whole situation gives as well, where it's like I'm trying to like talk about like what I had over there like once upon a time, and I'm just like, that's so cringe. Like, make something for yourself, make something of yourself. This is what I mean when I say to you guys, you have to work on things that gives you intrinsic contentment in life, because then you can live comfortably. This is why Adam lives a very simple life with his cats in his flat in London, streaming every day. A lot of people think that's not a real job, that's not this. He can afford to travel whenever he wants. He can afford to do whatever he wants to do. He's got his nice little community. He's not trying to search for more and more money and bigger money in this. He's living comfortably. He gets to talk to people who care about what he's talking about. And he's living life. He's living good. That's internal contentment. You know what I mean? Not like, oh, I have to, because it's always the people with the biggest egos who are trying to steer the ship. The thing is, it's just so obvious how much they need external validation. And like people being like, whoa, it's so cool, you got to work with Mr. Beast. Whoa, it's so cool. Like, like when people have to tell you stuff about them, and it's like so that you can validate that, like, no, but you don't know this, but like I'm like the whatever, like it would be something that you just don't even need to know, but they'll have to tell you about it, and they'll have to remind you, like I was saying, him steering the ship. If I was him, I would have gone a completely different route about it, and I would have been like, this is my opportunity to launch myself even more, and be like, also mention the Mr. Beast stuff, because that's a big thing. I used to work with Mr. Beast, and it was great being a part of that team. I learned so much being a part, even the humility to say you learned something, because everything with him is like, we did everything great. Whereas I learned so much from Jimmy as well, which was incredible, working that close to him. There was never a moment where he had anything to learn or he had anything to gain. It was always him, looking back as he's watching everybody catching up with him. And I hate that. Like, anybody at any age, right? This is why I love being around kids, because kids teach me so much. Yeah, like kids teach me so much all the time. And I'm like, you know what? I'm so grateful to be around them and to humble myself and not just always look at them as these buffoons who are in yesteryear that I need to listen to. Even Adam, because sometimes Adam says certain things about his opinions about certain stuff, and I'm like, low-key, I never thought of it like that, and you're so right about that. You know what I mean? And so it's just, anyways, that's just what I had to say. Yeah, bro was looking like a loser, and I'm so glad they ended up being on the same panel. It was actually perfect. And also Adam not even knowing who he was, because then it was, first of all, Adam was just shocked. Because he was doubly shocked. He was first of all shocked that he didn't know who the guy was at all, and then he was then shocked that the guy was with Mr. Beast, and then he was then dealing with how insufferable he was being on there, because even at the end he's like, I think to wrap all this up, everything we said, if I were one of you guys and I wanted to be a creator, I would when you finish with this, go into your room when you're by yourself. Now this is actually good advice in a way, but it's the delivery. It's him saying this after everything else he said and him having to have the last word. It's like, brother, because again, your vibe is just so off, and he's just trying so hard. Maybe he's trying to launch a management company, and then he's going to tell the parents afterwards. He's going to be like, oh, by the way, actually I might be able to sign you guys. I'm starting a management company. That's what he should maybe do if he really wants to, because he could get away with it. Him, with his pride, and those parents who are prepared to sacrifice them kids, they would be a match made in heaven together, because he probably could help them, and they're probably prepared to let their children do whatever their children does, as long as it means that they got money in their bank account. Let's be so freaking for real, right? Because this is modern day child sacrifice we're talking about here. We started with every new version of technology, we just find another way to redo it while still doing the old ones at the same time. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, guys, that's what I have to say about that. It was really funny to watch. But then also, it really actually made me respect Adam so much more, because sometimes and this is what happens with losers, if you're a loser type of person or a winner, when you guys are in the same place, this is why, like I was saying to you, how I was saying at the very start of the video that it's funny that this person never says whatever. And I know this person will never ever confront me also in a group setting. There's a lot of people who are like that. A lot of people, when they want to say something to me, they'll wait until there's nobody else there. It's because when you're in the group setting and the jury of the sheeple is watching, it's easy on either side to sway everyone, whether you're the winner, whether you're the loser, right? When you guys are there at the same time, the contrast becomes so clear. The contrast becomes so clear, and then everybody sticks out like a sore thumb. The clear winner and the clear loser. So having someone like Adam who didn't back down and who also wasn't pandering to Mr. Beast, didn't care because of a lot of other reasons why he's not a fan of Mr. Beast. Him being there was perfect because you have someone who's just like everybody else, oh my gosh, Mr. Beast, money, yay, right? And then him who's like, honestly, I'm happy for like to see, because he even said like about the JoJo CR crew, he's like, I'm happy to see people happy, but I'm not happy with like JoJo. And I'm like, I understand why he says that, you know? And that contrast was beautiful to watch. I was having so much fun watching that. I even rewinded it just so I could watch Adam's faces and everything because it was so good. And like that guy just didn't realize, and this is what I love about when you're like in a public setting. That's why I'm like, if anybody ever wants to come up against me, go ahead. I'm more than happy. All I'm saying is it has to be done in front of a large group of people. It has to be done in front of a large group of people, and that large group of people gets to ask questions. That's what I'm saying. I will share anything. I will share anything. But it has to be done in front of a large group of people and not in court, in like an informal setting, so that the people can ask whatever they want. Because even if you know, whatever, by the time they've heard me speak, you speak, me speak, you speak, me speak, you speak, me speak, you speak, even if they start out sure that I'm the villain, I guarantee you they will sway the other direction. And this is why I know that in myself, that the people who come up against me will never do it in my face. They'll never say the things that they say about me to my face. They'll always do it behind my back to others. And then to my face, pretend like they had nothing to say, pretend like they're not saying anything. They're always going to do that because they know deep down, they know they're the fraudulent. This is what I'm saying. Deep down, you always know when you're really the loser. Deep down, you always know. Because when you're a winner, you're not even thinking about if you're a winner or a loser. And you're not even thinking about improving yourself because you're too busy enjoying the life you created. I was saying about Adam, he's too busy. He doesn't know who this guy is. That's the best part. You're walking around like, oh, Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast. Everyone knows Mr. Beast's name. Everyone knows your name. I haven't remembered his name. How many people on this channel have I talked about? I don't even know who they were. And I know them who they are for like a couple of days of my research. And then I'm here talking about them by name. And I can't remember this guy's name. You know what I mean? Have something to stand on for yourself. You know what I mean? And also just like I said, that whole just energy of like, being so patronizing, because I mean, I was more interested to hear from the woman in the middle, because Patreon is such an incredible platform, like for so many people to be able to earn actually good money. You can share more information. There's less community guidelines, like way less than YouTube, so it's way better, like as a creator, easier way to still make money whilst being honest with your audience. Also, you have your own kind of space that's somewhere else. It's kind of different. So I was sad we didn't hear more from her about like her job and like what she's doing and like how you know, and I would have loved to hear more, and she was lovely, but we had the freaking, and this is how it always goes, it's always the big prideful one who no one actually, because that's how people start to realize, because they start realizing that actually why are we even hearing from this guy still? I'm kind of sick of this guy. They always expose themselves. So anyways, you guys, I will leave that there and make my way back. But yeah, so guys, find your own lane and just learn to have internal contentment. Like, I'm happy with the way I am. I'm happy with the life I've created for myself. I'm happy with who I am. And like, that's what you need to do, because this stuff is embarrassing. Like, it's embarrassing. And like, especially to be at his age, because even for Adam, think about it. Adam's 20 and he's already like content with his cats in his flat, just, you know, talking to his community. His mom is like part of his manager or whatever, you know, he's got a very wholesome life. He's been through a lot though. But like, you know, he's dug himself out of a lot that's happened since he was a teenager till now, especially with the Colleen stuff, which is actually years old, by the way. I think he was 14 when all this stuff happened. So he's done well for himself, and at 20. And it's like this other guy, who's probably at least 40, the only thing he has to show for himself, yeah, is that he used to work for Mr. Beast. What have you done for yourself? And you don't even work there anymore. That's actually an embarrassment. That's actually an embarrassment. You know what I mean? Not even like I left the Mr. Beast, to go and focus on my family, and family is also important. And so I would appreciate if he said, make sure as well, like if that was his advice, to make sure to think about, the more meaningful things in life as well as you get older, because, and he loves that he was able to do all of that. No. I know what I'm talking about, and I'm the expert because I was in Egypt with Mr. Beast, and they let us in places no one's ever been before. And I was like, wow. Brother. Anyways, guys, I'm actually going to leave. Because if life is a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. I'll see you in the next one.